Hey everybody, it's Billy here with Port City Living. I hope you're doing well. I've got some information to share with you about flood insurance. I know before you go crazy and before you swipe, you really need to hear this, I promise, especially if you're thinking about purchasing a home. So I was listening to NPR several days ago, Here and Now, and they started having a conversation about national flood insurance. And of course, it piqued my interest because I'm in that arena, so to speak. And I had several takeaways that I thought I would share with you, and I think this is kind of important. So first of all, experts say that if it can rain at your property, then it can flood at your property. Interesting concept, right? So forget what flood maps say. Perfect example of this is back in 2018 here in Wilmington when Hurricane Florence came barreling through, dropped tons of rain on us, and places in Wilmington that were not considered in flood zones flooded. It left a lot of people confused, a lot of people concerned and upset, obviously. So the takeaway on that one is, if it can rain at your property, it can flood at your property. Okay, so the second takeaway is all these flood maps that we refer to, like me as an agent, if I've got buyers, I'm looking at the flood maps to determine whether or not the property they're looking at is in a flood zone. And if it is, then they're going to have to carry flood insurance. But what if it's not in a flood zone? Again, that whole thing of if it can rain at your property, it can flood at your property, right? Something to think about. The third takeaway is affordability. According to experts, flood insurance is very affordable and available to most everyone. Now, I am not an insurance person. I don't know anything about it. So if you have questions about how much it costs and where it's available, then I suggest that you reach out to your insurance company and find out that information. Now, is this a ploy to line the pockets of insurance companies? I don't know, maybe, but also with all of the improvements that we do to our lands, especially like here in Wilmington, all the building that we do, it's no wonder that we're having flooding issues for places that are not technically designated as flood zones. So it's a great conversation to have. If you're thinking about purchasing and you're not going to buy in a flood zone, do you think you should have that extra layer of protection? Or maybe you existing homeowners, if you're not in the flood zone, has it crossed your mind that you might need to add flood insurance to your insurance? I don't know, it's a good conversation. I'd love to hear from you about this. I hope this was informative and beneficial to you, and I appreciate you tuning in. I'm Billy with Port City Living, and remember, put your phone down every once in a while and just be quiet. You'll thank me later.